What is good? Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to have a special episode. We've got pull day, so we are going to get to see both myself and Meg get after it and train pull. We've got Gaz the man behind the camera today. He's had a bit of a hiatus, but he's back now. So we are going to get stuck into the session. As you'll have seen from the video that will drop before this, talking a little bit about mindset, I definitely think that it's an important lesson for you all to kind of watch. If you haven't seen it, definitely give it a watch. As obviously myself being at 9 weeks out and Meg being at 7 weeks out yesterday. So closing in 8 weeks out this weekend, and 6 weeks out for Meg this weekend. I think your mindset has to be in the right place if you are committing to either a contest prep or, as a matter of fact, anything you do in life. I feel like you have to be mentally prepared to do what's necessary to reach your goal, within reason, obviously, because sometimes I feel like people can take that a little bit too far and people can almost misinterpret it in a way that could affect things in a negative manner. So we will get stuck in. We will show what happened for us pre-workouts at the moment. As energy-wise, we're still pretty good. We're not really suffering yet, but it's coming. I'm definitely going to embrace it, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. As at the moment, things are really moving well, so I'm kind of anticipating starting to feel the suck, but at the moment it's still been a breeze. I've got 5 minutes left on my lecture with Dr. Jackson. Massive shout out to Dr. Dwayne Jackson. He is a wizard when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to anything to do with health as well. So massive shout out to him and the Prescript crew. Definitely worth checking out. I will put the links in the description to Prescript if you want to check them out. I'm currently doing the nutrition course with Dr. Jackson and the Prescript level 2 with Baxter, the wizard, and the man himself, John Shallows. So highly recommend, guys, for anyone who is looking to improve their own knowledge as an athlete, as a coach, whatever you're doing. I think it's very much worth it to kind of pursue, especially for me, not even from a client base, but more so from my own knowledge as an athlete. It's invaluable to what I've already learned and what I will be learning from these guys in the future. 5 minutes after this, and then we'll crack on with the reminder of the day. Let's fucking go.
Was from a study by Austin et al. Entitled Vinegar Supplementation with Day Breakfast with Carbohydrate Equivalent.
Yeah, boy. So that is the wrap up for the lecture. Just wrote down my daily journal. I like to write down my body weight daily and just some thoughts. And I've actually done that for pretty much past 2 years. I had a little break, I'm not gonna lie, last year, but I'm back journaling good and proper every single day. I feel like at times when you can write down your certain thoughts, you can almost challenge yourself. And if something starts to bother you, I found that I've been able to write it down, think about it and break it down a little bit and then kind of sort out the situation that's going on, if that makes sense. So it's definitely quite interesting. But now we'll get a pre-workout meal done and ready. We'll get that cooked. Well, it's actually already cooked, just needs mixing and warming up. So we'll get that done and we'll get to the gym. Let's go. Me and Gaz are actually talking about the ice bath, and he hates the cold, so we're gonna have to get him in it. But I was just saying, the other day I did like eight minutes on 5 degrees, and I literally sat in sauna straight after for like 15 minutes straight. I was shivering. So I think I've already done it, but that was done more so to like prove to myself that I've got the minerals to do it. I don't think that's actually productive. I don't think you actually need that long inside it, but I think, what's the right sweet spot? Like a couple of minutes or something like that. So it's basically the goal of the ice bath is to just get in, get the kind of shock to the system and get out. So something that I'm gonna do every single rest day. The benefits from a recovery standpoint are probably not that great, but I think from a mental perspective, it's almost like you're doing something you don't really want to do. And for me, as weird as it sounds, it just does make me feel good. Playing little mental games with yourself. As much as like contest prep is, relatively hard to at a point, I still don't think it's really that challenging. And I love doing contest prep. I love off season. I love doing it. So I'm not really doing something that I don't want to do. When it comes to cold, I'm actually doing something I really do not want to do because I actually hate being cold. It's more of like a mental thing for me that I want to kind of continue doing. But I think that's going to be a video for another episode. I think today, we're just going to get stuck into the training, show you the pre-workout meals. As everyone always likes to see food. Pretty much same meals, just I've got a little bit more than Meg has, and I'm actually gonna eat my pineapple now. Pineapple, rice, chicken, avocado. Very simple, but very effective. should have used a spoon. That was terrible. Anyway, we'll let Meg go through what sessions we actually have. So you can write down, take notes, and copy if you wish.
We are in for pull today. Obviously, we don't hinge on our pull days. We've gone through that a few times before, operated it out, seen a massive response from kind of the bring up of hamstrings and back and glutes, which is obviously an area that both me and Kuba needed. So like dedicated days for both of those two things were definitely needed. So today's pull day, which is literally just a back and bicep day. Kuba has an underhand cable pull down, then moves on to a dog barking. He then moves on to an upper back focus. He then moves on to an upper back focused pull down. He then moves on to a lat focused row. I can't tell you the machines. I think that one's the prime pin stack one.
We'll get to see the machines.
He then does a reverse rear delt fly, and then he does some biceps, and that's pretty much it. Mine is literally exactly the same, it's just I use a slightly different machines. So we pretty much use alternating machines for the two different pull days, so that obviously there's not all of us on, because obviously I train with Katie and he trains with Mark. Instead of there's being 4 people on each machine at any one time, we basically just do alternating sessions. That's pretty much the pull day, but I'm sure that Kuba, myself, will go through some bits when we're there as to why we use it, how we use it, and kind of pointers that you can perhaps put into your training as well.
Just got some new equipment in as well. We've got the seated leg curl from Atlantis, probably the best seated leg curl ever made, no joke. And pivot leg press as well. Needs to come back, mate, in line. So it's in line with these, mate, yeah. Absolutely beautiful.
It's okay, Felipe. This is my first movement. I do it kind of the lat pull down on the gym shop. I've actually managed to still keep this progressing during my prep, which is quite exciting. That's actually a weight that I never even touched in my off season. So things in prep are still going very well. I actually had a 2-day refeed a couple of days ago, so that could possibly be the reason as to why strength's still up this week, even though obviously I'm much leaner. So you have to wait and see, but not gonna kind of put a dampener on things before they get damp, if that makes sense. So just rolling with the punches as we go.
The usual mobility work and some leg raise before leg day, before pull day. So I always like planks pretty much for every single session, and side planks. Side planks again, rotational capacity and improving the bucket handle mechanics of your rib cage. Very, very, very useful tool for me, especially from a posture, and plays a massive role with my ability to brace better when actually trying to bias my lat and getting the proper posture for it as well. Hang your leg raise. as well. Not just for abs, but also for hip flexors as well. Very useful movement. So that's pretty much my go-to pre-pull to get things finally moving. So stay tuned for more. Whoosh. Beautiful. So I'm actually going to start with what I would call activation work. I actually do a form of activation before every single session. Today, as every other pull day, I do single arm straight arm pull down, more so as activation work. It's a movement that overloads predominantly shortened range, so it makes a lot of sense for me to start with that. Last bits of mobility work now, and we're almost ready. Sharp exhale, rib cage tucked down and in. Crunch down slightly my oblique. Left shoulder internally rotated. From here the motion starts driving the fist down, not in. One set here, just to get the lat fully short before we move on to a variation of the favourite pull down. On that pull down machine, it's about 5 different variations of the same exercise pretty much that I like to run. Right, lat training 101. If you truly want to get the most out of your lat, your ribcage position is extremely important. So you have to take the right posture in order to actually favour utilising the lat. So for me personally, the way my ribcage presents is up and out. That is a great position for pressing. However, it inhibits proper lat function. So in order for me to get in the right position to actually target the lat, I have to exhale sharply in order to move my ribcage down and in. From then on, slight crunch in my abdominals and the oblique if I'm working single arm, as I always do, in order to keep stability and keep my ribcage down and tucked to favour working the lat musculature. So your posture has to be like this, with a nice neutral spine, ribcage tucked, and chest down, not up. This position, upper back, this position, lat. And again, always use unilateral work if you do struggle connection with your lat and your structure doesn't complement utilising both hands.
Take it, yours. Yes. Okay, one. Let's go then. Let's go then. Drive. Yes. Ah, beautiful. Come on. Yep. On your own. Let's go. Yeah, and then we work. Only if you need it. Only if you need it. Yes.
So, the biggest thing I see these days in the gym, and that's clients and people I see in general, the lack of the right mindset when approaching a set. Generally, myself and a lot of people around me, we do work with a low volume approach. When you have a limited amount of number of sets, you have to make sure that you go into each set with a do or die mindset. There's nothing less acceptable than going to the set and making sure that you are giving your everything. And in order to do that, you have to approach the set with the right mindset. If you don't have the killer mentality, you're going to struggle making the most progress that you physically can and really getting everything out of each set you do in the gym.
All the way through. All the way through, come on. It's not fun when you get lean and your wrist straps feel like they're going to burn through your skin. Not nice. Coffee? Upper back focus pull down. Most people do a lat focus pull down like an upper back focus pull down. So you see kind of general pop people do. And I definitely used to do that when I first started training. So I think if you want to progress your back, you do need to learn the difference between when you're working your upper back and when you're working your lats. It's very much like a side lateral raise. And that I basically just used to use my traps, and most people just use their traps rather than actually doing something that's isolating your side delt. Much like the upper back focus pull down, you just need to make sure on an upper back focus pull down that the chest is very tall and that you really let those scapulars work. Slightly different with the lat focused. Obviously you don't want to restrict your scapula, but you don't really want to purposefully protract and retract, otherwise you won't use your lat, you will use your trap. So you need to make sure that on the upper back that the chest is nice and tall, you are working your scapulars, they are fully working, otherwise you won't use your upper back. And then obviously for the lat focus, you want to make sure that it's not restricted, it's working so that your arm can actually move properly, but it's not fully protracting and fully retracting.
Four in the middle.
Come on, take it. Yeah, and again. Let's go. Yeah, more.
This is the higher reps out of the rows. The pressure takes your breath so much. It's almost, you have to really brace yourself before it's set, because it takes some fucking minerals just to keep your composure and not run out of steam. So your breathing pattern has to be perfect on it. This machine in general though, the best row I've ever made. I could literally do my whole back workout on this easily, including the rear delts. It's amazing. Yep. Thank you.
Let's go. Yes, coach. Come on. Yes, that's you. One more. Take it. Take it. Yes. Yes. Go. Yep. Come on. One. Take it. Yes.
So I used to do this at the start of the session. Now it's kind of a chase to try and get back to the way that I used to do when it was at the start of the session to now. But I actually really like this row. Sometimes it's nice to not have a chest pad there, because sometimes I feel like I can't use my core as much. Well, you do, but I just feel like it's cheating. When there's a chest pad there that you can push into, sometimes it's nice to really focus on getting your core really tight and then rowing, because that's your first point of contact when it comes to your lat. Well, anything really. But you can create so much tension through your lat when your core's really tight. And I feel like sometimes when the chest pad's there, you forget to do it because it's there, it's doing it for you. Whereas obviously when it's not, got to grip and rip and keep everything nice and tight as well.
Let's go. Come on. There's 10, 11, 12. Let's go. Take it. Yep. Come on, that's on your own. Just on your own. Come on. Here we go.
So, upper back work now. On the other hand, we want slight extension of thoracic spine. So what I explained earlier with lat bias work, upper back, the same thing, but the opposite. So all we have to do really here is Extend the rib cage up slightly, and again, it's just a slight extension at the thoracic spine. No lower back bending, still keep a nice posture apart from here. Again, this would favour the lat iceberg. From here, we go to upper back. Again, aligning ourselves a little bit more in line with the upper back musculature as we go overhead and start to pull down. What was that? Fucking hell. Felt pretty good, that. Try it. Let's go. Felt pretty good, actually. Yes, it's biceps. Yes, it's last exercise. But we don't fucking back off. So, this exercise, very much like a hamstring curl. All I'm thinking about here is driving my tricep into the pad to create brace and pressure into it as I'm curling up. The best piece of advice I can give you is drop your load and focus on being able to move the load entirely with your bicep, nothing else. So upper arm has to stay locked in place, no foreign movement aside from, as it's called, curling, all the way through the movement, having total control of every centimetre of the movement at all times. That's key. The beauty of having unilateral arm work is you can actually self-assist. My arm volume is extremely low. However, the intensity, I like to keep nice and high. So with arms, the recovery capabilities are never ever impacted by arm training, in my opinion. I am able to take sets past failure and it have no negative impact on the mind of the session and sessions following after. Doing unilateral work actually gives you the ability to self-assist and take your sets past failure should you wish to do so.
At the end of my pull sessions, I've got a little bit of a top up of my glutes because obviously my glutes are a bit shit. So they're not as shit as they used to be, but they're definitely not my best body part. So I just do 2 sets of cable kickbacks on this leg session and then 2 sets of hip thrusts on my other session. I used to do hip thrusts in my hamstring day, but my hamstring day still got, or already has like 3 other compounds. So it was a little bit too taxing to recover from, and that was in off season. So we moved it, so it works really well. The 2 sets of the glute kickbacks on this one and 2 sets on hip thrusts on the other session.
So that is a wrap for the session. You are going to get a little sneak peek of Meg posing. I'm going to go in the dark room privately, as yeah, I'm not ready to display anything just yet. When the time is right though, I will, so stay tuned. But you're going to get a sneak peek of Meg at 6 weeks out, 7 weeks out. She's 6 weeks out this weekend, and she's very much on point to bring an unreal package, so I'm very much looking forward to it. As always guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, follow Gaz on Instagram, and a lot more content coming your way soon. Thank you all, really appreciate you. Now enjoy Meg's posing and we will all catch up again soon.